And you make excuses, and you stay away from people you know that you don't want to be around, right? I mean, if you don't see me in the gym, you don't see me at church, you can pretty well rest assured that I'm probably using again, because those are the two places that I love.
Welcome everyone to the 600 Pounds Down podcast. I have a special guest with me today, Steve Feldman. I'm excited to talk to him today and have him share his story. So you guys might be listening to this. We do have guests on periodically that have amazing transformational stories, and they share what they want to share. There's health, there's wellness, there's recovery, there's mental transformation, there's spiritual transformation, and so on. I've known Steve for, oh my goodness, Steve, how long have we, years?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today as you invited me, and I'm thinking, it's I would say at least 15 years, if not closer to 20, Justin. So yeah, man, I'm excited, very excited.
Yeah, it's really good to have you here. Yeah, my pleasure to have you here. And I've been actually 600 Pounds Down has been trying to get Steve on for a while. Part of that is on my end. Most of it's on my end. I tried to get Steve on. I haven't really reached out like I wanted to, but I'm like, okay, now's the time, because his story has been pretty good. I mean, I've been watching him. He's a coach now. I take that, right, Steve? You're a coach on social media?
I'm not a licensed coach yet. I'm working on that, but I do some coaching, and I work with some people in recovery.
That's amazing. Yes, and he's going to share that story today as well. So why don't we just jump in, man? I want you to share about your story, because that's what we do here at 600 Pounds Down. We want your story to be told. We want people to grow, because everything that we say will impact a person one way or another. And so we want to be messengers of hope, and that's what we do here on this podcast, is we become messengers of hope to share with other people that there's a way out of their predicament, out of their lifestyle they're not happy with, so they can walk in freedom. And I know that is verbatim basically of your message. So I'm excited to have Steve Feldman here. Steve, welcome to the 600 Pound Down podcast, and go ahead and share with the world who you are.
Well, man, thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm really grateful to be here on your podcast. So thank you. But you talked about hope, and we're just trying to give hope to people that are stuck. They're locked up on something, and on your end with the food and the health and wellness. It's such a big deal. It's even in my program as well. I speak on those things because it's a critical piece to life. And so my story really is. It was addiction, drug addiction, and alcohol, and other things, right? So when I met you, Justin, 15, 20 years ago, I met you through church, and just through common people, and an amazing church with an amazing pastor, and so probably, Justin, most of the times that we interacted, especially at my business, because I at that point in time owned a bowling center there in Bradford, PA, and I was probably under the influence of something, because that's what my life consisted of, and that's why I'm here today, because I overcame 35 years in addiction.
And you cut out a little bit about your addiction. What were you addicted to?
It was drugs. So it was cocaine, and then really severely into crack. That was 15 years of that stuff. Wow. And it's an ugly scene, and it's an ugly road, and It goes against health and wellness, I can tell you that.
It
So
does. Well, I have a question on that. That's really interesting. So, you know how people can conceal alcohol? They a lot of times put the alcohol in like a soda bottle. They kind of slightly just have something in there and they kind of sip on that. I've seen that, but how do you, I mean, you held your composure. I mean, you seem like, here's the thing, you seem like a really well-natured guy. You seem very easy to talk to, very approachable. You were friendly. I mean, I've never seen Steve Feldman angry, upset, or anything as I was talking to him. So it's amazing to me that you're able to conceal that and not have any type of, I guess you want to call it like some kind of symptom, some kind of, hey, this guy's on something, because that blows me away. How's that possible?
yeah, well, first off, when you're in early on when I met you, I was it was heavy cocaine, and what you don't realize is there's a lot of people doing that actually. You'd be surprised, and I was in a business that was alcohol and pleasure. People were out bowling, having a good time, drinking, and you could get away with doing cocaine quite a bit in public, and so I was able to. You become a really good liar, and you become very good at deceiving people, and so just you get used to doing it, where to do it, and when to do it, and when it gets ugly, it's usually later at night when the doors are closed, and you make excuses and you stay away from people that you don't want to be around, right? And
Yeah.
I always said it, and I say it today. I mean, if you don't see me in the gym, you don't see me at church, you can pretty well rest assured that I'm probably using again, because those are the two places that I love, and I loved was being in the gym and being in church, and eventually you go in a little bit as you're using, but then eventually you just the addiction takes over, and you make excuses and you stray away from those things and those places because you can't do both. And then the crack, that's a whole nother story. You're in deep, and you're not. I couldn't do that around people, so I had people working my business really, and I would come around late at night, or I'd find other places. You find the dark places to do that stuff. You don't do that in public. So it was, that stuff was a mess. So yeah, but I
So
mean,
15 years ago, you said this was something. How long have you been clean?
we're going on about 4 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
beautiful. That's awesome.
yeah,
Was it a when you became when you started cleaning up, was that a process? I mean, we can go details as much as you're comfortable. I never want to
sure,
push anything that's uncomfortable. So if I ask you a question and you don't want to answer it, simply just say, let's give me the small answer on that and just move
yeah.
forward. But
I got you.
so becoming clean, what was that process like for you? Were you going through withdrawals at all? Were you miserable?
I've been really blessed through it all, right? I mean, withdrawals, I didn't really deal with a lot of that, physically, maybe mentally. But been asked that a lot, and a lot of times I've been asked in a different way, where they ask, was there a moment, was there this certain time that it all just something happened? And when 35 years in and out of programs, in and out of therapists, counselors, interventions, inpatient, every kind of program. So you're in, you're out, and when you're out and things are going good, you're back at church, you're back at the gym, trying to do it right, and so for me it was a process, and it's really that's why that's the name of my program, is the process, because it was a process, and everything in life is a process. So yeah, I didn't just have this one moment that was it. As far as the drugs, but so yeah, it is a process, and
Yeah.
I learned a lot through it all, and that's which kind of is why God created this program and through me, you
I,
know.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm really happy to hear that. And I want to talk about that process as we go further into this interview. But my question coming to you, I guess, at this current time is I just have an interest in what did your life look like? What were some of your darkest moments that these drugs led you down into? What happened to your life? Because we have listeners addicted to all sorts of things. I mean, it could
Sure.
be food, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be gambling. We all know that there's something somewhere, somehow people have this vice that they reach out to that's not Jesus, because
Right.
it's not the tangible feeling that our flesh is looking for in that moment. We want something now, quick, easy. Give me the feels, help me to feel relaxed, help me to feel good, give me a high, and then I'm good for that moment, that fix. So I'm curious on your end, where did your journey take you? How dark did it get for Steve Feldman?
Well, I'm glad you weren't going to go too deep today. And the truth is,
Pass.
Justin, my life's an open book, and
Yeah.
I'm vulnerable and transparent. You're right, because I want to help people, just like you, man. I want to help people. But so yeah, you're talking when you see or if you know anything about that part of addiction, crack addiction, you're in neighborhoods in crack houses with the lights off, with people in and out. A lot of things going on in those homes, right? And you're doing your thing, other people are doing their thing. There's cops driving by. There's that going on. You're renting. I see. For me, it was different than maybe a lot of people because I had money, and and that ended up being a problem because
Because
I
you were a
had money.
business owner. You owned a
Correct.
bowling alley.
So yeah, I had businesses throughout that whole journey, really, and so I had funding for this, which was actually a detriment because money ended up. I found out later on was a god to me. It pulled me through a lot of things, and it kept me going in addiction as well till the well ran dry.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you're talking about hotel rooms for a couple days at a time, going on trips and go out of state, out of town, even with family, and going out to the streets and in a place you don't know because you know how to go do these things, and you sneak off and you do that, and so a lot of ugly stuff, a lot of things in the dark, Justin. It's a nasty, evil drug, and so yeah, so where did it take me? Multiple marriages. I lost everything financially twice. Broken friendships, relationships, and like I said, you hurt so many people along the way, and so yeah, a lot of dark situations.
So this is really interesting to me because as a viewer or a hearer of what you've struggled with, or just observing other people who have their recovery stories, you don't quite grasp the raw realness that was happening to them, and the darkness that overtakes them, and then the life that they've lived in secret, and the life that they've lost, and all the feelings that come along with it. And I'm curious, you had a relationship. So here's what's interesting about Steve. You had Jesus somewhere in the back of your mind, somewhere in your heart. Like you have known him, but he wasn't really you confessed him, but he wasn't really the Lord of your life in that area. He was
Correct.
working on Steve maybe in other areas, but he in that area you're like, no, 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 no. You can have everything else but this particular part. So as you were going through your normal, I mean, your habits, the addiction, the dark parts of your life, how were you feeling about Jesus? How were you somehow still holding on to that? Was it an image thing, or was it like a real? I guess I have a ton of questions. You can certainly answer the best you
No,
can there. I'm sorry to overwhelm you with that, but I'm just really curious about how that all
yeah,
worked out.
I think it's great, Justin. So he was always there, Justin. I knew him and met him at 12 or 13 years old. Problem was, I didn't have anybody around me at that time. The good news is, Justin, at that point in time, he entered my heart, and he's been living there for all those years because I always knew I knew there was a God. I knew there was a Jesus. So, and he never left me. So, it always came to the point of self-destruction where, okay, I've got no answers left, and there he is. He's still there. And so I go back to him, and a lot of the people that I know, and we were just around an amazing band of Christ-centered men and a church that was solid. So I always had that to fall back on. And my mentor, obviously, MP, you know him. And
shout out to Hollywood Mike P.
Well, right? So, there's another example, right? I always knew when to not be around him, but he was a man and is a man he's the one man in my life to this day since I've ever met him. I've never once seen him sway, and he is a tremendous blessing in my life. Yeah. But so I was around the right people, so it was easy to get back into it, even though they knew here he is again, right? I mean, I was clean off of drugs for 6 years at one point. I was clean for, and then there's all these other times, dude, because you're talking 35 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like, 5 years or 10 years, most of my life. And I think that's why what's going on today in my life being all in, and he is number one. He is the Lord of my life. And things are very different today. And, I'm using now all the things I've learned through all the years. And that's how the Holy Spirit really brought the process to fruition. Yeah. It wasn't my thinking. It was his. And this whole book, this program is inspired by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we're gonna definitely put that book in the show notes and talk more about it here at the end. So those who are interested, and maybe you're walking through your own journey, it's your chance to really potentially become set free. I mean, I do believe that we have materials out there once they're applied, especially from guys who have been there, done that, have the experience. If we can learn from them, like guys like Steve, guys like George and myself, whomever, you can really grow from the material they give you. So I'm super happy to hear that you're doing something about your pain, Steve, the pain you went through to help other people. I'm so inform me, what was, as an addict to drugs in the past, did you ever think, man, I just want out of this? Or were you just continuing to continue seeking the thrill? Were you having days where you just said, I just wish this wasn't a thing. I can't believe I'm doing this. Tell me how that has been a part of your life, and what was that like when you were using?
So obviously you're a Christian. I'm a Christian. And so I've always known he's always circling. He's always around in the mix, whether I was using or not. And you said it about being all in. That, I mean, yeah. You always, as an addict, I don't care if you have Christ or not. Man, this is the last day. I can't do this anymore. I hate myself. I hate my life. And remember, I had businesses, so. It's part of my testimony. I always say I was on stage, right? Like you said, you didn't realize, and a lot of people didn't. A lot of people did, but a lot of people didn't know, right? I mean, people looked at my life and thought, wow, he's got a good marriage, he's got all the stuff, business. I mean, it all looks good, but on the backside, man, it was a wreck for sure. And you can only keep it up so long. But, I always was thinking like that. But the problem, and this is what I've learned, is that, and again, because my program it's Christ centered, and it doesn't mean I don't sit there like you, man. I don't preach to everybody, and you can do what you got to do. But if you're going to hear me and my story, and you're going to be in my program, it's all about Jesus, and it's all through my program. And you can still go through the program, and there's going to be seeds planted, but I don't know how you can possibly get through it all and get through it like I'm just blessed, right? I have my health still, and I've been blessed with an amazing wife, and I mean, God has been so good, but part of recovery, and this goes to all recoveries, I believe, is that you have to have, there's two, and I talk about the two pillars, right? I talk about the heart and the mind. And the heart is an inside job, and that's the work of Jesus. And, when he's the only one that can really clean some of the, because everyone's got some deep stuff, right? And people got it a lot worse than I do. And I had it a lot worse than some others. But he's the only one that can truly clean you and make you a new creation. So you've got to have that on the inside, and then the rest is the mindset, and that's that's really I believe the difference maker of the differentiator of my program to what others that people have experienced. I feel it's very different is dealing with the mindset. We could talk about that and whatnot.
Yeah. No, mindset, that's important. So scripture is pretty clear. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So the mind has to be renewed in order for you to be transformed. Your spirit man becomes alive when you accept Jesus. But there's a work. It's a sanctification is the church word that we use to sanctify or to change or to develop the mind, to change and to just become what it's supposed to be. And that's what the renewing of the mind is all about, and that takes time. I think as we both have been through some form of addiction, you look at that and say we wanted it yesterday, and the truth is it didn't come yesterday. It was a process to work through it. As you have shared, you've had ups and downs. I've had ups and downs. I've had days I went sweeping right through for 3 months without any sugar, any gorging of myself. And then one day the weakness hits. I feel bad about myself, insecure. Somebody made me mad. Maybe somebody hurt my feelings. And so what I do, I go to my best friend, food, even though it's not. And instead of praying, instead of going for a walk and talking to God or worshiping through it, I'm going to go through that cookie, and I had a whole box of Oreos or whole pack of Oreos. On top of that, another something else. And on top of that, something else until you feel sick. It's disgusting, and that you don't like yourself through it because it's not what God has made you to do. And it's not who he's created you to be. But we give in and we tap out to the devil and we say, okay, mercy, you win. And we give ourselves over. But that fall, as a transformed, renewed mind person, that thought goes through your head now saying, okay, my perspective on this, yes, I failed. Yes, I struggled and I fell. But my perspective is I have Jesus and I have an opportunity to learn and grow from this. I don't live in condemnation. I live in conviction. Conviction says, come on, buddy, you can do better than that. Let's go. Condemnation says, you fat pig, I can't believe you ate all that. I didn't go there. And that's the difference today. Like you were talking about with your program there, we have to work on the mind to get past that, not let the devil come in to say, hey, loser, look at you, and beat you down and hold you down. I'm sure you can elaborate on that, and I'm sure you felt that in your life. Can you give me some examples of that?
Well, yeah, and I'm going to just say one other thing. Just what you were talking about, to have that mindset, the mindset is actually the fruit of the root, of which the root for you and me, and I believe it has to be for anybody, is that root is doing the work, right? And it's really in my book I talk about it, but it's in life, and when you're talking about mindset, it's a complete paradigm shift of the way you think, and you get there really by changing the habits, changing over time, just making right choices over time. It's just like you said, it doesn't happen overnight. It's work, right? It's a lot of work, so that when you get to that place, you say, I'm not that lazy pig. I'm not. Yeah, I messed up. Yeah. And you get wiser, right? Mm-hmm. And I was going to mention that you get wiser, you mature, you grow. You mentioned growth. Well, what is growing? What's growth? you're growing, you're maturing away from wherever you're at, whatever you're growing out of to anywhere in life. You're leaving a situation, and you're what used to be really good on one level, the next level is mediocre. It's mediocrity. So you're growing out of one situation. You're literally just maturing, and it's all, and that's really, again, my program is all about, on the mindset piece, is self development and personal growth, man. It's probably the biggest revelation I've had. Once I dug deep in those things, it took me so much faster away from the life of addiction. It blew my mind, and I didn't realize, but it was going to be part of my program, and it is. So, yeah, those mindsets, those ugly mindsets where you can't look in the mirror and you're really screwed up, you've got to grow away from that. You can't just, you can make decision, I won't do it again, I won't, it's not like that. You've got to you've got to have a game plan. And you've got to have a game plan to work away from that. And there's so many other variables, right? Just depending on who your circle of influence, whatever environment you're in, it's not easy. But
No, it's not easy, and I'd like you to continue that process if you want to. But I just think of my friends that I have. I have buddies who are sexaholics, and that's
Yep.
that's a crazy addiction on top of that. I mean, with pornography, with wanting attention from women, people who are food addicts, people who have drug issues, people who are porn addicts. I mean, I can name on my friend list, I can name a lot of people with a lot of problems. I don't judge, but I say people have the issues, and I've noticed something very, very common amongst recovery. And it's simply, there has to be a desire and a will and a drive to want to change. You kind of have to have this. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Because I think people put perfection in the box of,
Sure.
I have to be perfect to be recovered and to start recovering. You don't. It helps when you're better, when you have it together, but there's always that starting point. But your starting point has to be, I am so intense about this because I am so sick of where I've been. I'm so sick of losing everything. I'm so sick of not being what I want to be. I'm so sick of being stuck and complacent, and I need to do something about this, and I'm tired of it. And so you kind of have to put yourself out there in a way that you're not hiding anymore. You can't hide anymore. If you allow, it's like turning on a light. If you turn on a light, the darkness flees. It tries to hide in other crevices and areas, but if you turn on another light,
Yeah.
that leaves too. So when you put your dirty laundry out there, that's the most embarrassing thing in the world to share that. It breaks your pride. It helps you to give away all the lies. It helps you to expose the skeletons in your closet. Now there's nothing to hide. Now there's nothing for you to say, okay, I still have this little piece of... No, you don't. The light just shone on that, and now you don't have it anymore. I think it starts with that intensity, Steve. You have to have the intensity, even if it's just 50% intensity. At least it's a starting point. But you can't be... How can I put this? You can't have this background of, I'll keep this in my closet for later. You have to have this intensity to keep going and have this drive of, no matter what, I have to do this. What do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, a couple things you said, right? I mean, I've learned this, and I'm okay with it, that you can't, you're not gonna, nobody, at the end of the day, nobody made you, wherever the first step was, nobody, no matter everything you heard, no matter what people tried, nobody can do anything for you.
Yeah.
And same with me. I mean, pleading, you looked at me. I mean, I know people are like, this guy's got it all. What is he doing? He's a mess. Like, nobody can do it for you. So, yeah, intensity. Yeah, you got to have intensity. You've got to get broken so bad. Hopefully not so bad, but I think you do. I think you do. And you really hit on another thing, that coming clean, man. Anything, you can't leave, and you're absolutely right, you can't leave one thing in the dark. And I know some people have some bad stuff, man, but you got to find somebody, because that one thing is the one thing that will keep you locked up. It'll keep you stuck, and it will hold you. And you might have some temporary good times and good things and periods of time where your life is good, but it will come back unexpectedly, and it'll do some damage again, and it could create a lot of damage. I always say, listen, there's no friends or family that's going to come and say something. I've said this to my wife. I said, you're not going to hear something about me that you don't already know. I have told you. I have been in, boy, and let alone, man, it's a beautiful way to live life. I don't have to ever look back and think, man, what did I say to that person, or they saw me somewhere. And I lived like that. I know what that's like, and so I cherish that stuff. But you're absolutely right, and it's part of recovery, right? You're supposed to tell people your stuff, and I get it. But you got to find the right people that you feel free enough to do that, and that having that intensity and that it's a tough one, man, because I stopped using and picked up again. 100 times, if not 300-400 through 35 years. So I've just been able to put it all together, everything I've learned and experienced, and just I've been able to develop this, what I think is a way to accelerate this process, not clean everything up and fix your whole life, but change it enough where you're off and running in the right direction.
I love accelerate. Accelerate's a great word. So yeah, you're kind of starting, instead of starting at like a snail's pace, you're going to, because we need some action steps. We need to have it a little bit quicker, because we know if you take small steps, it just takes a lot longer to find the recovery, and sometimes it just gives you more ammunition to go backwards too, because you still kind of have that, your one foot's off the gas, if you will, but there's still the other foot ready to get on that as well. No, I hear that. I have a question for you, if you don't mind me interrupting you for a moment.
Yeah, no, man.
So, what changed? Okay, as an recovering addict and from the drug scene, you said you've been sober for about 4 years now, which is remarkable. Good for you.
Thanks.
What's different this time? Because you've had Jesus before, so we know that, just as I with food addiction had Jesus and I still did my thing, but I found my light switch that turned it on. What makes this the final nail in the coffin to your addiction that you've had, so you can bury it and have a new life fully alive in Christ? Like what is different this time?
So God has spoke with me multiple times, right? Even before I came back here to New York, there's times he is, one of the times, just to kind of give an entrance into this, is one of the church sermons back there, and it was actually in New York in Olean, but God said, he caught me alone in the middle of a crowd and said, Steve, I want the rest of you. And I knew what that meant. I knew, even though, excuse me, I'm thinking I'm giving 75% or 80% or whatever. I knew what he meant. There was more to give. And I always struggled with that. I just, going to church and doing my thing, but I always left a little bit for Steve. So what I've learned is, and I use those percentages, it's just something I do, right? And I've took my life to where I realized, even at 99%, that 1% that you're not giving to Jesus is that 1% that, excuse me, is the game changer. At least for me.
Yeah, of course.
It's that 1%, because there's something ugly in that 1%. And for me, I think it was really just pride. Yeah. That to lose control, to give it all.
Yeah.
And really, it changed, and then it was meeting my wife, and that was it, because I knew I wanted to be with somebody. I wanted to be with this certain woman, and then God had a talk with me at that point as well, and really told me that that this is your last chance at marriage, in a relationship. This is it for you. And because, your audience doesn't know, but this is my fourth marriage. Excuse me. So I've tried it before, and I tried to do things my own way, which failed terribly.
Yeah.
So God had told me, this time is it for you. And I'm sorry, my throat is
No, you're
itchy.
good. It's just that lousy devil coming in and trying to steal the moment. No, for marriages, and then saying like you had to give up the pride, you had to get to a better place. This is your last chance. And so was that like an audible voice, or that just God speaking to your heart, or what was that like?
I don't say I heard it audibly, but it's like a conversation, right? And that particular time was a conversation. To first off, to get me into the relationship fully, and he said some more things to make it concrete. And so I started down the journey in this relationship, and really it was a game changer, because I was finally equally yoked with a woman who has the same love and passion and truly lives for Jesus. Yeah. And so things just started in that direction, and God then just, we went to this certain church together that she was a part of for 20 years, and it was a game changer in that church. I knew it was where I was supposed to be planted the first 10 minutes I was there. And so we're taking part in a church, and we're in this relationship, and God just has been moving, and everything changed when I got into this relationship and met this woman. It all the pieces, I look back now, and like Steve Jobs said, he said that you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can connect the dots looking backward. And as I look back, I see exactly where God worked, put this woman in my life. Yeah. And I had the choice. I didn't have to go that route, but I wanted to. But God gave me some ultimatums as I started. He didn't want me playing games with this relationship.
That. Yeah, no more games. No more games. So what's different this time is you kind of have exposed everything. You found someone in your life that is like-minded with you, that's passionate about faith, that wants to serve the Lord along with you, kind of like-mindedness, and really just being shaped and formed together with another person who has the same concepts that you do and beliefs that you do, which is very helpful. And then you felt like the Lord has finally like just given you the hey, Steve, if you don't change this is your final time and you're destroying your own life. That's enough to wake a person up. I mean,
well, yes, it was that, and once I made the commitment to God, because he gave me an ultimatum.
Yeah.
And he had said, and because my last relationship, I tried to create being equally yoked. I kind of tried to make it happen. And it's what I wanted, so I tried to make it happen. And and you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so this relationship, God is such a gentleman, and he's got a sense of humor. He said, Steve, he goes, look, I'll even do one better this time. I'm going to create, you're going to be equally yoked going in. But here's the thing. He said, I'm going to give you one of my most prized possessions, one of my daughters.
Wow.
And he said, I'm all in. Are you? And I was taken back by that. And so I made a covenant with God on that day to honor and cherish her every single day of my life. And it was at that moment I was all in to Christ and my wife today. We've been married 2 months now, but we've been together 3 years.
It's amazing.
So that's in the all in. Then God started to reveal to me my calling. And it's just been the journey from there. It's been incredible.
Well, that's an amazing story, by the way. So thank you for sharing that. I mean, I love hearing those details about what God has done in your life and what He said to you and how He's guided you. I mean, that's if you're not a Christian, you're listening to this, man. Sometimes it's hard to comprehend and understand the ongoing conversations with God, but He does speak. He does. If we're able to listen, able to have a moment to where, hey, we don't have it all together. We just need to be quiet a minute and just let God lead. You recognize the voice. It becomes stronger and stronger and stronger as time goes on. But you get to learn it. You get to hear it. But yeah, that's so important that, Steve, you shared all that stuff. I want to, as we're closing up here, I do want to hear about this recovery program that you put together. What makes it the antidote? I know you've already talked a little bit about this. You talked about the heart, then you talked about the mind. So both are very, very important. But when people, who's it for? Number one, let's talk about who it's for, your audience. Number two, where can they get it? And all the things that go along with this. Guess it's your time to kind of close out with, this is Steve's program that he put together. Believed it was divinely inspired by God for you to give to other people. Who to, and what can people expect out of it, and then how can they receive it?
Okay, so I'm going to just say something before that, Justin. That, I've known you for so many years, and we've had a lot of fun. I mean, you performed at my bowling center, and I've always, you're such an inspiration. You always have been, and your story is incredible. And, you've inspired me along the way as I watch you and watch your growth. It's just, what you're doing's working. And I just wanted to say that I'm grateful for you and what you've done. And, I don't know. I'm not sure even what I've done pals to what you've gone through, but you're touching lives, and I'm grateful to have you as a friend.
Thank you, Steve. I love that, man. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that.
So what was the first question?
Yeah. So what is this you're offering? What audience is it targeted to, and who's going to benefit from this? And then, of course, where do they get it?
So the program is called The Process. All right, it's a Christ-centered addiction recovery program. And I say it's a radical approach to recovery. And it's for anybody in drug or alcohol addiction, and I guess you could, addictions or addictions. The process could work for it all. I focus because my past and history is with drug addiction. I'm certainly focused there. So it's, I think it's for people that have been down a road, people that have been through multiple rehabs and programs, and they just never have gotten it right. So I always say that, my program's not for everybody, but it is for anybody who is ready to make the change, because this isn't a passive program, man. It's an all-out attack against the enemy. And it's a 90-day program, and I don't want you coming back through. At the end of 90 days, I want your mindset to be very different. I want your heart touched, and I want you off living your life. And one of the differences in this program really is we work from the end to the beginning, right? We create a blueprint, a 90-day future self blueprint. And right out of the gate, before we even start the step work, we draw out a personal blueprint of where you want to be, who you want to be in 90 days. And we lay it out. It's very detailed and in depth. And we start to think like that person and behave like that person from day one. And then we work from the end to the beginning. And, again, focusing on the past, yeah, we're going to deal with the past. We're going to look at the past. We're going to deal with the past. But my program, we are focused on the future. Where are you going? Who are you going to become? And who do you want to be? Because that's what's more important, is where are you going? And so that's really kind of a little synopsis of the program. And this is brand new. In this book, this program is developed for one person. They can buy this program and they can go through it at one time pass through. And all they're going to need is an accountability person and God. And the three of you can go through this program yourself. And another unique thing that I've done is every step in this, because there's different things in it. And as you go, I've created a set of YouTube videos, and you get a link to it, and I just go through some stuff. I'm just sitting on camera like this, explaining what you're seeing and what's going on, and I share some of the things about how I felt during these stages. And it's kind of, I have checkpoints in there, so I keep you in the lane, so to speak, so that you're not drifting too far. Because this was inspired by the Holy Spirit, and it was developed from a former addict, for addicts. So I've been there, yeah. And so that's what the program is, and actually the plan is, honestly, I've been called to lead a movement in addiction recovery throughout the world. And my heart here is to help people discover freedom through Christ and realize that recovery is possible, but it's also promised if you walk in faith and truth.
That's right.
So, that's really the goal. And I have a website. It's called radicalrecovery.com. And recovery is without the E. It's RECOVRY. Radicalrecovery.com. And I built it myself. It's very beginning. I mean, I'm just starting out. So it tells a little bit about the program. But the program is available for pre-order right now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And the books will be actually coming out December 16th. And my plan is to grow this, to get this into churches. I'm working on it right now to get the program started. So that's it. It's going to become a movement throughout the world.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's a really good synopsis of it, Steve. I think that's genuinely recovery programs. They will work if they apply themselves, right? If people apply themselves, and this one is unique in its own concept of how it's done. I mean, there's each one has its own unique way of doing it, but this one seems like this is kind of a groundbreaking opportunity for people that's a little different than what they've experienced before through other types of recovery programs. Because, like you said, you've been through multiple ones, and they weren't the answer. So this is what you have found to finally say, all right, now this really hits the reset button on an addict, and this helps them recover forward from backward, if you will. So your future envisioned self, then you kind of learn the process of how to operate like a future envisioned self, and that becomes your new norm way of thinking. And then you kind of undo the old habits as you move forward, and you're going to guide them through those steps.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's an amazing concept. I love that. So you said December 16th is when the book is released?
Yes.
Okay, December 16th is when it's released. So that's a book with multiple steps on how to take. You can also do it with, and all you need is the Lord, number one. He's always with you, but then an accountability partner. Yep. But it can also be done in a group setting. I think you were kind of saying.
That's the plan. I mean, I don't have those established, but that's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, and people can just, I mean, if you have a friend group who wants to do it, I'm sure they can just work on it all together and share the answers and all the things. No, that's amazing. So this is good. I'm excited for that. I'll put all that in our show notes, and anybody who is walking through recovery right now, who has maybe a friend or family member or somebody yourself maybe, this could be an opportunity for you to get a book and a program that can change your life. And you said 90 days?
90 days. Yep.
90 days. And that's the cycle of really renewing the mind.
Absolutely. That's yep, renewing the heart and renewing the mind. And I believe in 90 days you can change the way you think about recovery and addiction, and you can be positioned to start living your life.
I love that. Okay, so Steve, as we close out today, if you were to talk to somebody who used to be in your shoes, or who was in your shoes that used to be in, what would you say to them today? Like, give them a message of hope, if you will.
Well, a couple things I would say. You're not too far gone. Whatever you're thinking, wherever you're at, there's always hope. And you don't need to know it all today. You don't need to know it all today. You don't need to know the whole path forward today. I would just say reach out to somebody today. Let somebody know what you're doing. You don't need to know it all today.
That's good. That's good. One step at a time.
One step at a time. You know that one, don't you,
I
Justin?
do know that one. That was the old motto, brother. I used to do that all the
Yeah.
time. Like we used to say,
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
yeah, I appreciate that. No, it's been such a blessing having you on today, and I'm sure maybe when your program's released and you guys go down the road a little bit with that, I'd love to hear maybe even some of the individuals who went through your program with you. We can have
Yes.
several guests on, just kind of talk about how this recovery process has worked for them. But I have high hopes. I believe it's going to be amazing, and I just trust that God's going to use it, and He's going to set a lot of people free from your obedience, bro. That's the beautiful part about this. Your
Thank
obedience
you.
is amazing. So, yes. So, guys, thank you. Thank you, Steve, for coming on. Guys, if
Thank
you
you,
have
Justin.
loved this episode, we would encourage you to share this with others on socials. Also, go on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube and rate it a 5-star rating. We appreciate the fives. And
Yes.
also like and share. And, Steve, by the way, do you have a podcast coming out eventually?
I will be. Yeah, I stopped
Okay.
once I started doing the book and building this movement. But I will have a podcast again. Yes.
That's awesome. We will
Radical
highlight
Recovery.
Radical Recovery Podcast.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. All right. Well, that's an awesome, awesome thing to do. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Justin. Love you,
All
man.
right. Love you, brother. All right, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for seeing us. We'll see you next time on the 600 Pound Down podcast. Have a good one.